Hi folks, Gus here at Rex Club HQ. Joining me are Hector and Adam, but before we go any further, I should probably let you know, Rex Club, if you didn't know already, is a sports headwear brand. We make caps, bobble hats, other parts of apparel for schools, universities, amateur teams, semi-pro sides, pro sides, the works. If you want to know more about that, you can follow our website, which is www.rexclub.co.uk, which is here. If you'd like some more information, send us an email. That's info@rexclub.co.uk, or slide into our DMs at Rex Club News. I think that's correct. But without further ado, the reason we're sat here today is because we have started a book club, and this is our very first gathering. We decided to do this purely because it's probably better for us than wasting our lives looking at our mobile phones or playing Call of Duty Warzone. I've got Adam on my left. On this side of me is Hector.
I started reading perhaps 2 months ago.
Yeah, enjoy my reading. Normally Harry Potter's about the extent of it.
It's a very good book.
But considering we're a sports headwear brand and we've decided to read sports books,
Yeah.
I'm very much involved. Keen to get started.
We are gathered here to discuss our first book, and as Adam mentioned, we decided to make it sports focused because obviously that's what we do, and we thought perhaps it might be easier going on ourselves to be focused on something we enjoy. So the first book we decided to read as a group was Fever Pitch by Nick Hornby. Any fun facts about Nick Hornby, gents?
I've got a few later that I want to quiz you on.
Okay.
So I don't want to go into that too much at the moment.
Anything you know about Nick Hornby?
He's an Arsenal fan.
I thought you were something else. All I knew about Nick Hornby was that he did About a Boy.
Well, that's one of the questions. Done. Point to go. So it's very much centred around his relationship with Arsenal Football Club. His favourite team supported his entire life. I quite enjoyed the bits that deviated away from straight football, him in the games. There's quite a lot about him and his friends going to the boozer. I can relate to that for some reason. Also enjoyed the bit when he's at university. He had a liking for Cambridge United. He went to Cambridge Uni, so I enjoyed those bits that kind of went away from Highbury. So what was your favourite?
How did you find the book, mate?
It's a tough read, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
No, I'm more of someone who prefers, the old fiction kind of novels. So this was tough, but I just didn't really like having to read about a club which I do not like.
Okay, that's
I'm a Manchester United fan.
So you'll be happy now in the year 2020 that Arsenal are doing so poorly?
Yes, I'm extremely happy.
Nick Hornby, sorry about that.
I tell you something, I've had enough, blood. Yeah? I've had enough of this shit, dog.
I think for me personally, I think my favourite bit was like one of the parts where he, so obviously throughout the book he's kind of mentioning all the different things whereby he's obsessed with football, and he wakes up and the first thing he thinks about is football, and I think that's the intro pretty much. His missus quizzes him on like, what are you thinking about, darling, sort of thing, and he kind of says you can't actually admit that the first thing you've thought about in the morning is a volley in football. But yeah, I found it all very relatable. But there's one particular part which I loved, and it's the bit when he goes to a football match. I think it's Cambridge United actually watching, so it's not even the bit like Arsenal.
Yeah.
And he takes a girlfriend, and she faints when they go 1 goal down. And, and rather than actually help her up, his obsession and fixation with football is so severe that he literally leaves her, and he doesn't even think about her until the Cambridge have equalised, gone on to win it, and then got promoted. And I just thought that was a very relatable part of sport. I don't think if I was in a similar situation like that any differently.
We need a girlfriend first.
Oh, brutal. Would you have acted any differently? Would you have swooped her up and taken her to the St. John's ambulance yourself?
I think I would.
You'd like to think you would, now that you say you've got...
You be a few beers down as well.
Okay, same sort of scenario to you. You're watching United. United are playing Arsenal in the FA Cup final, and a girl faints on you. Would you swoop her up, take her to the St. John's ambulance, and look after her, miss potentially the last 50 minutes of what could have been the best day of your life? Or do you just let her kind of like work it out on her own?
No, I'd say I'm a nice bloke.
Yeah?
So
I think sport means too much to me.
Yeah.
I did like all his references. I liked how he kind of referred to, you know, his thing was Arsenal, and it's how his mates knew him. Like, they would always know where he'd be at a certain time, a certain day, because they just look up the Arsenal fixture list.
There's some amazing figures in there from like when he's well into his 20s, 30s. He only missed 3 home games in about 10 years.
And I think the other one that stuck out for me was, I think I've got it written down here somewhere, but I made so many notes and don't know how I'm actually going to apply them to this.
Yeah.
That's something we will learn in the future. But yeah, I think he went to something like 31 Cambridge United games in a row, and they didn't win a single game. And I loved his blind loyalty. And he does actually say something classic about sort of, you know, the best thing about sport is investing in something you can't control, which I think is a pretty poignant bit of, just very interesting, isn't it?
So I think one of the main reasons he got into Arsenal originally, obviously lots of his peers were getting into football, but you touched on it before, it's the relationship with his father. So his parents were going through a divorce, and the only time he'd really see his father is when he took him to Arsenal games.
Just having flashbacks of his own upbringing.
And and that was their way of sort of bonding.
Yeah.
So I thought that was definitely the theme, and like it's just interesting if that hadn't happened, you know, would he be so connected to the club throughout his life? Obviously, because his childhood was in the 70s. In the 90s, when he's talking about Paul Merson, Tony Adams, players of that ilk, I sort of started to recognise the guys, recognise the names, their history. But from like the late 60s when he first starts going to the 70s, I really didn't have a clue about any of the players or anything. I really enjoyed the bits, you know, going down memory lane with Highbury and standing up in the North Stand, I think it was. I enjoyed all those kind of reminiscing, the sights and smells, but the actual football itself couldn't really relate to it.
No, I think the best thing for being a football fan and reading all that sort of stuff is how he discusses, as you say, the sort of culture around the stadiums, like, you know, the standing, the fact that you could all smoke inside, that it was all terraces, and I think even at one point they mentioned there was holding cells underneath the stadium because all his mates makes up the fact that he was some sort of ultra hooligan or a.
You've been arrested at a few stadiums. Is that true? Is there still holding cells, or is that?
What are those?
I think the most interesting part is, you know, talking about holding cells, the terraces. And then also that whole, when he's discussing the stadiums and the culture around football, his whole kind of thing is leading towards the Heysel and the Hillsborough disasters, and he kind of writes the whole way throughout, almost kind of taking you to why there needs to be reform in football.
Yeah, so it's prevalent in that way, wasn't it? Because we all know the history of Hillsborough. But it does talk about obviously Heysel, the first big disaster in Belgium, was it?
I just know it was
Juventus, Liverpool. And the thing about that is he kind of picks out, I think it's the Belgian police, for knowing that, well, basically Juventus, a big thing back in the 80s was like rushing. So
fans would never mean to.
So yes, it wasn't about the fight, it's more about just rush and then come back. But obviously Juventus fans didn't know that.
All being middle class, well-educated, northern Italian.
Turinians. So when they started like obviously running away, the stadium collapsed, didn't they? Because you couldn't take it. But so the move from standing stadiums to all seaters because of like Heysel and then
and I think
Hillsborough.
He says as well, like, you know, that most of these grounds in those days, none of them had been built up.
So
the big 100 years old.
The big thing I had as well, is because particularly in the UK, so in European, or like the Bernabeu, for example, 95,000, or in all these capital cities, the stadiums got moved out of the actual city to like, you know, half an hour away. So better for transport, better for parking and stuff. Whereas
whereas still now you can go to the main road, but like in the middle of Moss Side, wasn't it? And like before it got knocked down and rebuilt. Goodison Park is still in.
So Highbury obviously before the Emirates.
It was in North London in the heart.
Just on Side Street. So. But I think football fans are very connected to their stadiums and do like that. But
you like it like Craven Cottage, don't you? Which is on the river, nestled in.
It's lovely, but like the kind of infrastructure around that is just unfeasible in this day and age. So.
No, agreed. And then and I think one of the last points on that, I think as well, is he even says, you know, the shock about it was. He mentioned in the book, like when it came through on obviously the radio, so obviously fans in those days used to all be wired out listening to the other results. And when the announcement came through there'd been a disaster at Hillsborough, they all kind of were already guessing which part of the stadium. That's what because it was so badly engineered and designed that they already almost knew that something tragic was going to happen. They were almost guessing where it was going to happen.
Nervous about a league game.
If I was to ask the author anything, I'd probably ask him, does he wish he was able to write this after the period of Arsene Wenger? Because obviously,
massive theme in the book that because Arsenal are terrible throughout.
And he calls them boring Arsenal.
Yeah, they win championships from time to time.
Because this man is clueless, fam. In the first, from the game kicked off, bro, I was nervous.
Time. Yeah. But they're known for kind of very aggressive, dogged football, not total football, not lovely interplay and passing. And then that's why I was confused when I first started reading the book.
Yeah.
I was like, when's this based? Because in our generation growing up, because of Arsenal are known for their
you had Arsenal pipping United to the league one year in about 1999-2000 by 1 point or something like that.
I think they won a few times last time.
Yeah, but I mean the 1 pointer was a bad one. I think my other actual regret of the whole thing is probably that someone as gifted in writing wasn't a United fan. I would love this book to be United centric, but yeah.
When was the last time you felt this nervous about a league game?
He even compares it to love. He talks about how does sex compare to the delirium that comes from winning a last minute winner, and it's all quite funny. And then the other part is you might get divorced and remarried, but you would never ever change your football team. And I just feel all these things are so true.
It's my point as well is sort of following from that. Does the quality of football on show matter? So the Stoke manager Alan Durban, said if you want entertainment, go and watch clowns.
Yeah, I've got that down there as well.
Tell you what, that's the one I've got. But so sort of following on from that, it's people blindly, loyally follow their team. Don't really care about the quality of what's on show.
He says
they want to win.
He says I don't care about what's on show. I want to see Arsenal win. That's it.
Yeah.
He understands with football you can go to the cinema and you can go to a festival, you go to an event, and hundreds of people may be there, and it's repeated and it's on tour and all this sort of thing. But if you were at the final of, say, the Champions League in '99, and you watch United win the treble at the Nou Camp, whatever, you are in a select few who can, select few being tens of thousands, but you are the only people in the world that can say I was there. Yeah. And there's something very special. Again, he said he calls it being in the centre of the earth, because that's all that matters to people who would follow football. You were there on that day. Yeah. I thought that was quite cool. I would recommend this book to anybody who's into sport. I thought it was one of the best ones I've read in ages. It really made me laugh. Made me think about the people I've been to sports with, to football with. Made me think about the old man's love of sport too much, and all those. Sorry, that was the dog banging his head on the table. I would give it. Do we have a rating system?
Should we do 5?
5's good.
They can do halves.
Okay, cool. I'd give it a. He did everything for me. Apart from the fact that maybe it wasn't up to date, so I'd be 4.5 to 5 on this. First book.
I go 3.5. Decent book.
3.5.
3.5. But yeah.
Excellent.
I go 3 because it's about football and I love football.
Okay,
but
a real damning reference on the rest of it. But yeah.
So there we have it. Are we concluding here? We've just about done, haven't we?
I've got a few.
Okay.
The quiz about the author.
Yeah, go on. Go through.
Oh yeah.
Which 1998 book was turned into a film starring Hugh Grant?
About a Boy.
Well done.
Come on.
Oh, I knew that.
That's which 1998 book, by the way. That's right. Which 1995 book was turned into an American film starring John Cusack?
Fever Pitch. This one.
No.
Damn it. Oh,
Jack Black as well. If you smoke
what about records?
Smoke a spliff, you are.
High Fidelity.
Well done.
Come on!
Don't smoke weed, kids.
Yeah, don't. It's bad.
Where was the author born?
The author was born in what? Maidenhead?
Oh, yes. I thought you were going to say Reading.
No. Thank you. Nick Hornby, represent.
The year, closest to, if you get a team, I'll be impressed. The year in the team of his first Arsenal game.
His first game?
Yeah.
76?
Miles out. He's
Really?
about 20 then.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Shit.
I was going to say
69.
60.
All close.
I was going to say 64, but
68 against who?
Swindon.
Same letter.
Stevenage.
Same first two letters.
Stoke.
Hornby has a famous writer for a brother-in-law who's probably best known for his book Fatherland. Do you know who it is?
The guy he goes to football with. Is it? The guy who goes to
his brother-in-law.
Oh, his brother-in-law.
So he married his sister.
Yeah, no, I read this somewhere, but I can't remember who it is.
Robert Harris. Fatherland's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was Nick Hornby's proudest achievement? This is nowhere in the books. I read this online.
His proudest achievement?
Yeah.
Not to do with this book in particular?
It's not.
So it wasn't watching Arsenal win the league against Liverpool?
No.
Maybe setting up his charity? I think he's got a charity, hasn't he?
No, it was learning to drive at age 42, so there's hope for me.
Next book, gents, did we decide what it was really?
No.
I was going to suggest we do read James Haskell's new book.
Yeah, it's a bit modern, it's only just...
Yeah, okay, well, any other ideas?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter's a bit off topic.
We'll do Haskell's.
Should we do Haskell's?
We'll do Haskell's.
I think you probably, it's going to be an easy read, isn't it?
What are you trying to say?
Sorry. Okay, well, Adam, thanks very much. Hex, thanks very much. Retisov's first book review, over and out. Oh, actually, you know what? I won't conclude. I had a nice quote to conclude this, actually, and I'll finally use it. The reason he has his love of football, because real life is paler, duller, and contains less potential for unexpected delirium. Good night. Good night.